Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface with another episode of AzChats. You probably know what's coming, don't you? I'll probably put it on the thumbnail, to be perfectly honest with you, but some people will most likely see the thumbnail and go, yes! Yes! Now, I have to say, I don't know where this AzChats is going to lead, because I'm almost hesitant to do it, in as much as it feels as if I'm going to be kicking the maimed animal. But certain things have got to be said, of course, and that's what AzChats is all about. So if you're new to AzChats, these are more podcasty type of videos as opposed to visual videos. But I have put some eye candy for you to watch. This is some Warlords of Draenor live footage for you. It might be from a weird perspective because I've fallen through the world. And that's about it. But my character hasn't died and we don't know what the hell's going on, to be honest with you. Now, if you are familiar with AzChats, of course, as well, I do tend to get quite into them, and it does often contain fruity language. So if you are offended by fruity language, and language of an adult nature, then it's probably best that you turn this video off after you've given it a thumbs up. And you know, go off and file your nails, you little princess, and stuff like that. Only joking. No, I'm not really. Sorry, not sorry. Right, so the topic of conversation we're going to have to, you know, it's the elephant in the room. We can't avoid this, can we? It's the utter, what I would call clusterfuck of a launch of Warlords of Draenor. Now, I'm somebody that's quite happy to say I told you so. And I've been speaking to some of my peers recently, Wow Hobbsy, Boa Gaming, stuff like, people like that. And I've been, before Warlords came out, and I said to every single one of them, a lot of them, I gotta say, they were more optimistic than I, and I wasn't at all. I said the launch is going to be a clusterfuck. It's going to be a mitigated clusterfuck. And yeah, that's kind of right. And I could see it coming. And I'll kind of tell you why I could see it coming. And I'm not talking about the DDoS attack. I didn't actually envisage a DDoS attack. But in all fairness to Blizz, they should have been expecting it. And the weird thing is, only a few weeks ago, Blizz got DDoSed. And fought it off with very little disruption. I think there was a little bit of US servers down. Some, not all, just a few. And I don't think we even felt the impact here in Europe at all. So obviously if you're releasing a brand new expansion, then you're going to be on full system alert, aren't you? You're going to be on full system alert. And, you know, stuff like this, you kind of need to take into consideration it's going to happen. By the way, if you don't know what a DDoS attack is, a DDoS attack is where the servers get overwhelmed. And they simply cannot cope with the information that's coming in. Put it this way. Let me make it into a nice little analogy for you. Think of a sink, right? With the plug pulled out. If you turn the tap on to a medium speed, the water will simply flow down the side of the basin into the sinkhole and away. And it will just keep flowing and flowing through. And that'll be it. A DDoS attack is if you turn both taps on at the same time, as far as they'll possibly go, and the water's cascading in, and it's not falling down the sinkhole, and it's all sloshing around the sides, and it's starting to fill up the sink. Think that's like a DDoS attack. There's just simply too much coming in, and it just can't filter through the system, and it fucks it all up. And this is what causes huge lags, latencies, disconnections, and all this kind of jazz. But how much the DDoS attack is responsible for everything that's going wrong, I'm not convinced it's actually everything at all. One thing I was massively surprised about was the pulling down of the beta a week ago last Monday. So it's been down for 11 days or so, 11, 12 days. And I was massively surprised about that. And the reason why I was massively surprised that they pulled down the beta, and before anyone thinks they're going to be cocky and go, well, that's what they normally do. Actually, it's not. They don't. The Mr. Pandaria beta actually ran through about a month after the launch of the game. Never mind getting pulled down. It stayed up for about four or 5 weeks after the launch of Mists. It was still available for usage. Is I didn't think the beta wasn't finished. It wasn't any. I didn't feel the game was finished at all. I was actually surprised and expecting a lot of updates the final week. I was kind of like a little bit cursing because I had quite a bit of work to do still on the beta, and it's very difficult to do work when lots of disruptions and stuff like that. But you plough through. You've been given a very nice honour in beta testing the game, and it's something I am very, very grateful to Blizzard for, and will remain so. But there was so much still to do for me, and stuff was just not working. The garrisons were not working. There were still significant issues with the garrison. There were a lot of disconnections with garrisons. Surprise, surprise. Guess what we've got now? There were lots of disconnections with garrisons. There were issues with the followers. There were issues with people inside of it. There were issues with questing inside of it. There were significant issues that I thought would have got patched out before the release of Warlords of Draenor. And then even in the world itself, there was a lot of stuff which didn't really get tested as fully. And another thing which absolutely didn't get tested was stress testing. There was simply not enough people on the beta, full stop. Now, they did a stress test of Tanaan Jungle, the opening event, because they obviously knew there was going to be a bottleneck of people flooding through the Dark Portal then. But there was no stress testing on the realms, and I thought this was ridiculous, because what you've got now is everybody from the Alliance and everybody from the Horde, if they're in the garrisons, and I know garrisons are phased, but it's still putting a strain on the servers, everyone's in the same bloody spot. So it would have made sense to me to open up the bloody floodgates and get as many people into their garrisons as you possibly can, as many people around the phasing area of the garrisons as you possibly can. You know, see the effect that it would have on the outskirts around Frostfire Ridge and Shadowmoon Valley. And I was I was just amazed when they announced the shutting down of it. It's just like, what? This isn't ready. This is not ready. This beta is not ready. And I know there are a few builds ahead of us. You know, the build that we would have been testing on the beta would not have been the build that Blizzard would be working on at their side. But of course, there's no way that they could have significantly have tested the build that they had, because they wouldn't have the audience to do so. You know, you can't test it with a couple of thousand people all in all who work in Blizzard. You know, get everybody from Blizzard to test it. Everybody drop everything that you do and test this shit. You know, so they're going to have an absolute fraction of the number in-house doing some testing, because it must have been tested in-house. Definitely not of the sort of numbers. And something else which angers me. I know it shouldn't anger me because it's a video game and I've got to put some perspective in life. But it does anger me because I'm probably a sad bastard. But just one thing that does anger me is I have been through multiple launches in the World of Warcraft. I have been there at the launch of Wrath of the Lich King. I was there at the launch of Cataclysm, and I was also there at the launch of Mists of Pandaria. So I have gone through multiple launches in the World of Warcraft, and they are not smooth affairs at all. And if there's one thing, oh God in heaven, if there's one thing that Blizzard have got to learn, it's the mistakes they made from the previous launches of the previous expansions, and they just simply were not. Absolutely were not. So what did we have with Warlords of Draenor? Well, actually, maybe let's go back a bit. With Wrath of the Lich King, I actually didn't participate in the midnight launch. I hadn't bought the game. I was absolutely going to, but I don't think there was digital purchases then, so I don't think you could pre-purchase. I think you all had to wake up in the morning and run out to the video store. And I ran out to the video store, and I'd only taken £20 from me, because it said it was £20 on the website. And then I went into the store, and it's actually £25. And I hadn't brought my card with me for some reason. I don't know why. I hadn't brought my card with me, so I had to run back home. Well, I didn't run. I wasn't that keen. Well, I was keen, but not keen enough to do that. So I went back home, got my got my card, got another £5 out, and got the game. Now, I also had, I would distinctly remember, I actually had a meeting that day in the morning as well. It could have been a job interview, I can't remember. But I had definitely had a meeting in the morning. It was around 11 o'clock. So I'd actually decided to purchase the game around about 12, whatever it would be, after I've had my meeting and stuff. So I think it ended up being something along the lines of 1 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when I physically got Wrath of the Lich King back to my house, and then you had to install it, because you had to, you put your discs in and you installed it. Oh, those are the days, yeah. You put your discs in and you installed it, and I actually can't remember having any issues with Wrath of the Lich King. I can remember logging in. I can remember doing my opening. I was Horde at the time, so I remember doing my questing down at Howling Fjord. I can't remember what the exact place was called. And yeah, I think there was a couple of issues with maybe a couple of disconnections. But other than that, it felt relatively smooth. But I think a lot of people had sort of moved on from me by the time I'd logged onto the game, which was most likely around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I think a lot of people had actually pushed on. So when I actually logged on, there wasn't so much of a bottleneck of people coming through. And then there was Cataclysm, which was a fucking that was a clusterfuck as well, because Blizzard decided to relaunch the servers, didn't they? As far from what I can remember, they decided to switch off the servers, and then everybody had to log out and log back in. So immediately they just put everybody was attempting to access the login servers at the same time. The most stupidest mistakes. Who just doesn't think of the obvious? Right, so we're gonna we're gonna boot everybody off, and then we're gonna flip the switch, and then they're gonna log back in. Who was the voice in the room that put their hand up and went, "Yeah, Jerry." Everybody that plays the game, which is currently 10 million, is going to be logging into World of Warcraft, and our login server's going to fall down. What did they say to him? Jerry, don't matter. Fuck it, we got the money. Don't fucking matter. We're privately owned now. We're interested in the bottom line, that's all. We got the money, don't matter. So anyway, I do distinctly remember, I think it took me 3.5 hours to log in. I think it was about 2:30, because it opens up at 11 o'clock for us here in the UK, because we go by European time. And I think it was 2:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the morning that I eventually managed to log into the game. Ouch. Which, of course, that's going to pale into comparison shortly. But, at the time, that was a big ouchies. And there was still some problems with Cataclysm when we logged in. And then there was Mr. fucking Pandaland. Oh, my God. Mr. Pandaland. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. That was a hell of a launch, wasn't it, as well? Everybody logged in, sat on top of the quest giver on the ship. Because, foresight. So everybody, I think, so they actually had to magical barrier. I think they actually managed to magical barrier the quest giver on the ship. And then everybody had to get into their little mecha whirly birds fucking bullshit, whatever. And they had to fly off and if you were Horde, you had to blow up the Alliance on a turret gun. And if you're Alliance, you were fucked, because you all got on this flying machine and you had to fly through a predetermined pathway that took you through, blowing shit up, shooting shit, and then you had to blow up a ship. So you might say, okay, well, that all sounds standard fare. It was. There was one problem. The ship would only recognise one person destroying it at one time. So there was literally, and there were pictures flying around the internet, there was literally rows and rows and rows as thousands of people were sat on each other's faces trying to compute when the computer recognised they got the killing blow on the ship. Oh my God. It was disastrous. So I ended up jumping off the ship with a soul stone, dying, rezzing back up, and just running off. I ran off to somewhere that I knew that would have a quest. So Warlords of Draenor, excuse me. So Warlords of Draenor comes around, and of course Blizzard have learnt from their mistakes now, haven't they? Of course they have. They've learnt from their mistakes. No, what do they do? They put a single point of entry into Draenor, which was the Dark Portal. So every mother trucker is just there flying outside the Dark Portal. So when you all fly through into the Dark Portal, you start to overload to begin with. So having this singular point of entrance way into Tarnan Jungle was ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. So they got onto that relatively quickly, and they started to open up other spots. They put a mini Dark Portal in Orgrimmar, Stormwind, but then said don't go into the one in Blasted Lands, so kind of that didn't actually remedy it, just moved the problem. And then they started, I think they put one in the Shrine as well, to try and ease congestion. But again, a couple of points of entry, you know, it's not a humongous change really, is it? It's not a humongous change. And then of course we had the just the inability to play the game. And because of this DDoS attack and all the lag issues that they were having, they had to cap the amount of people that could go on the servers. So let's say Silvermoon has a capacity of, I'm just, brain farting, these aren't correct numbers. Let's say it has a capacity of 10,000 players. It doesn't, it has much more. But let's say it has a capacity of 10,000. They've shrunk it quite substantially. So instead of being 10,000, they shrunk it to like 5,000, 2,000, something quite substantial. So suddenly you had people that were in 5,500 people queues, and because the people that eventually got into the game, they weren't fucking going anywhere, and rightfully so. They were like, fuck you, I've paid my monies, I'm playing my game, I don't give two shits if I have to hire the cat and just staple it to the fucking keyboard so it keeps squirming and hitting keys while I sleep. I want in. So these queues were hardly going down, and people were like, I've heard instances of people being in the queue for 14 bloody hours. And it's gone down from like 5.5 to like 2.5. 14 hours. And it's gone down 3,000 and stuff. Some horror stories from people. And again, I've got to reiterate, I am a lucky one, and we'll get to how lucky I've been shortly. And then, even when people did manage to get on, there was a huge proportion of Alliance players couldn't even set up the garrison. Because it either wouldn't recognise when you click the banner, or you could click the banner and then the quest giver vanished, so you couldn't even hand it in. So there was so many people that couldn't even, including my housemate, couldn't even create a garrison. And so, I'm not chuckling because it's funny, I'm chuckling because it's just like, oh my god, And I was getting messages and messages from people. I mean, I know they were frustrated. I know they weren't trying to have a go at me or anything. But there was a lot of people that I getting messages off, I'm fucking stuck in here, and I'm fucking stuck there, and it's fucking. And I was getting message after message after message, as if I was a member of Blizzard and I could do something about it. I mean, I was just like, I can't, look, I'm sorry, dude, I can't do shit. I can't do anything to help you. I cannot do anything to help you. You're just going to have to ride it out. It's the only thing we can possibly do is just ride it out. And then I had a live stream for launch, and I streamed 8 hours, and I 7 of those hours were Warlords of Draenor. I did an hour's build up, and then it launched, and I got through straight away. The lap of the gods was with me, and I actually got through to Draenor straight away. And there was hardly anyone there. It was like me and 2 others. And I was just like bouncing through the quest, ended up the Tarnan Jungle, finished that, moved on to something else. And we got some pockets of lag. Nothing like we've experienced since. And everything was a pretty smooth ride. And I think I got myself to around about 93 after the stream. I was taking it nice and easy, doing archaeology, playing with my garrison and all that kind of stuff. And then I finished the stream. I was tired, I was ill. Tired and ill, and I played for another couple of 2 or 3 hours or so, and within about an hour of me finishing the stream, the game just broke. Everything just broke. The lag was horrendous. I couldn't get into my garrison. I couldn't do anything. So eventually, I just went to bed. I went to bed. I fell asleep for 9 hours, and I was thinking, do you know something? I'm going to wake up, and Blizzard are going to be on this. They're going to be on this. Stuff's going to be okay. So I wake up 9 hours later, and I send out a little, what I thought was quite innocuous tweet. Just saying, just woken up, been out for about 9 hours. What's going on in the world of, what's going on in Warlords of Draenor, folks? And I just got bombarded. Fucking broken. And I went through these messages. I was just like, oh my god. So I log on to the game, and they're absolutely right. I can get in. I don't have to queue. I could get in without any problems. Queue problems wise, I'm talking about here. But it just, everything was garrisons was fucked. The zones were lagged out to hell. Everything was just fucked. And from a community point of view, I just feel so bad because the review that I did, I absolutely stand by the review, and I think it's got so much potential. And my fear is the people that have returned to the game, they're going to see this, they're going to go, fuck this, I ain't spending another penny on this franchise ever. It can fuck off. Every time they fuck up the launches. Every time. I'm done. Stupid me. I paid my 35 quid. I got suckered in. The fucking arseholes. I'm done. And we might get that. Is it reactionary? Yeah. The pragmatists among us would say, give it a week or two and he'll probably settle out. But people are paid good money. You can't be pragmatic about that. People are paid good money not to play in 2 weeks' time, but to play when they've paid the money, which is now. When Blizzard have announced the launch date, which was Thursday. It's Wednesday night for us. But Thursday, they have every right to play the game, not play it in a limited, filtered capacity when Blizzard deem it okay because of stuff going wrong. Now I know Blizzard are working hard. They have to be working hard. And this DDoS attack has got to be legitimate because Blizzard is a shareholder-based company and you can't lie to your shareholders. That's when you get into serious problems with the authorities. So if Blizzard said it wasn't a DDoS attack, we just experienced some server issues which we're working on, and then it came out that it was a DDoS attack, or what some people thought was the Deus Ex Machina, which was, we've been hit by a DDoS attack, and they hadn't been hit by a DDoS attack at all. It was just their infrastructure was fucked and not prepared for it. They can't do that because if they're caught in a lie, then they would receive all manner of skullfuckery, fines, criminal proceedings, the work. So they have to be absolutely open and honest with what the problems are with the World of Warcraft at the moment, and it does appear that it's the DDoS attack that is responsible for the mass majority of this. My disconnection screen looks fucking beautiful, doesn't it? So anyway, I go to bed the next night, after having a terrible day on Warlords, a really broken day. I didn't even bother I did a little bit of streaming. I did some streaming in the evening. I tried to give people something, because I actually did manage to get something going in the evening. But during the day, it's just god awful. And then they announced early doors that they were going to do some maintenance to the game. And it's going to be down from about 2 to 4 hours. And I was thinking then, do you know what? That's probably going to be the fix. That's probably the vast majority of shit will probably be fixed with this morning maintenance. And it was down for, I think for a couple of hours or so. And they said, right, stuff's back up. And I logged into the game. And I logged in. Do you know something? Shit worked. I could get onto my garrison. My garrison was working. I went to Gorgron where the quest was fucked because I'd constructed the lumber mill. That was now working. So I managed to finish off the Gorgron quest line I wanted to. And I got my garrison blueprint thingy. And everything seemed to be going tickety-boo. And then it got to around about midday today, and the World of Warcraft just fucking broke again. And this is Friday. You try and stop people playing a video game on Friday. Everything broke. Garrisons broke. But when garrisons broke, it broke your game completely, because you could no longer actually kind of dephase from the event. You were hoping for something to go wrong. You were hoping for a world server down or something to reset you. And you could get yourself caught in an NPC mobless world because of garrisons. You couldn't progress. And I've spent the vast majority of today in that situation. I managed to fudge myself out of it a couple of times, once on stream, once earlier. And but since then, shit's gone wrong. And then I had the My Mine entrance. I tweeted a picture of My Mine entrance vanished, and it was just cut world. And then I fell through the world. I fell through the world, and that's what we got in this video footage. Me floating under the world, alive. How? I do not know. But so, Blizzard, I think there's a lot to be prevented here, is the point. I think there's a whole lot to be prevented here. They didn't learn from the mistakes of previous launches. They bottlenecked the community, and they caused that fuckery right there. That wasn't no DDoS. That was just their dumb fuckness, to be honest with you. Sorry, I don't mince my words. I talk as if we're friends talking to each other. You know, I've got no allegiances to Blizz. I've got no allegiances to anyone but myself. And it was just stupidity. It was just utter mismanagement, stupidity to try and push every server through a single point. It's like trying to put a cow through the eye of a needle. It just ain't gonna happen, you know. You might get a bit of an udder just poking out, and that'll be it. So that was just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, and I don't understand why. You know, again, the technical side said, "Look, this is going to be really fucked if you do that. You can't do this to us by putting us through, you know, everybody in the server through a single point. It's gonna fucking cause all manner of skullfuckery," which of course it did. I think the DDoS attack got fucking nothing to do with any of that. Nothing whatsoever, because the DDoS attackers, I think, has hit the US vastly harder than the EU, and the EU that launched earlier was having these problems, was having these collapse of server problems due to the fact that everyone was getting bottlenecked through a singular point. So it just wasn't thought through correctly. They could have done something quite easy, as in multiple portals opening as an incursion of the Iron Horde comes through. That's how they could have had it. That's how they could have had it. And they could have fed people to different areas. They could have legitimately fed people to different areas. They could have set out X amounts of quests that would be available to such, and it would pull them to whichever specific area they had to go to. And it all, you know, you'd all originate back in Tanaan Jungle. But something, you know, something a lot better than the singular point that we had. Garrison server breaking. Look, that was broken on beta, and that wasn't fixed. I'm telling you right now. You know, the DDoS attack may certainly compound matters, but the garrison servers was not fixed in the beta. Absolutely not. There were still issues with that, and I was really worried when they pulled it. And it's proved to be very problematic indeed. I just do not think that the garrison server has everything to do with the DDoS. I think that is an internal as well. I think that's got significant internal tuning problems with what was going on. And then all the queue times, of course, is Blizzard. The queue times is not the DDoS. The queue times is Blizzard. You could say the queue times is a passive response to the fact that Blizzard have curtailed the amount of people that were able to actually log into the game due to the DDoS. I'll absolutely give you that. But it was Blizzard's decision, obviously, to do it. So all the people that are stuck in the queue for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours are done so via a decision made by Blizzard. So they are, and then what do we have? When you got into your garrison areas, I mean, I'm going to try and wrap this up relatively soon. I could go on for fucking hours, I really could. We're already half an hour into the AzChats. But things like the quest givers who you know are going to get raped by thousands of people at once. It's the only analogy. I know it's a horrific analogy to use, and I apologise, but I'm not trying to, you know, belittle the R word, but it is, you just knew there was going to be an orgy of people swamped over the quest givers, and yet, we have people getting on their fucking fat mammoths, and we have people, you know, people that can use the horn, Valkyrie horn, and stuff like that to make them larger, sitting on top of fucking people, blocking it for people. When it's already bad enough that there's so many people on the ground anyway. Why don't Blizzard magical barrier these people? They have the capacity to invisible wall anything they want in the game. Why isn't there an invisible wall around these people in bottleneck areas that they know are going to be bottleneck areas? It is, again, I'm going to say it, dumb fuckery beyond belief. It's like elementary school shit. That is. Doesn't need the brain of Britain to work this kind of stuff out. You could probably half the fucking kids in primary school because but why, you know, we can't speak to the person because everyone's on top of him. Can we make people not be on top of them? Fucking elementary school kids would say that. But no, Blizzard don't do it, and they allow people to get swamped, areas to get overrun, people not being able to get into the quest givers. So, whose fault's that? That's Blizzard. That ain't no DDoS attack. That's Blizzard's. Complete and utter skullfuckery, dumbfuckery. Right there. So all in all, I mean, the launch has been abysmal. There's no... I ain't gonna address it up. It's been abysmal. It's easily the worst World of Warcraft launch I've personally experienced. And that goes, you know, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Mists, and WoD. It's easily the worst. Still better than Mists of Pandaria. Still way better than Mists. All of this, all these issues, all these problems, still better than Mists. But all still joking aside, you know, this is by far the worst it has ever been, ever experienced, without any shadow of a doubt. Nothing learned. In actual fact, you know, they actually put the invisible wall round the initial quest giver on the ship for the Alliance side. If your Hordies are thinking, what's he talking about? On the Alliance side, to stop this very idea of people going on top. But oh no, do it for the garrisons, where you're going to be bottlenecking, where everybody's going to be funneling down after doing Tanan. Oh no. Oh no, God help us that you'll do something as fucking obvious as that. I don't know. Some of the elementary mistakes that are made baffle me. They do, from a personal standpoint, baffle me. And it's not anything that's like, yes, but, you know, retrospectively, nobody saw that coming. We see it coming every fucking launch. Every single solitary fucking launch. Hindsight has got nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this whatsoever. Just dumb fuckery. Absolute dumb fuckery. And of course it doesn't help, I'll reiterate, it doesn't help that everybody is sat on each other's faces on the Garrison server, all phased, thousands of people phased, sat on each other's faces in the Garrison server, when the initial idea, of course, was that garrisons could go all around Draenor, all around the zones in Draenor. You could choose a zone to put your garrison in, which of course would have moved the stress levels. But oh no. No. We want them in fixed point areas. I still don't think we've had the end of garrison problems. Even when all the DDoS stuff is worked out, or when all that's been done and dusted, I still think we're going to have significant server issues with regards to garrisons. We ain't seen the last of that yet. Maybe I'll come back to this in 6 months' time. In 6 months' time, AzChats, and we'll talk garrison server stability and where it is, where it's at. Could we come back going, nah, it's fine. End of AzChats. But yeah, there was some. So to kind of summarise, folks, abysmal launch, easily the worst. The DDoS attack hasn't helped, but at the same time, ridiculous decision making at Blizzard's side with the entry points. With the quest givers, with the bottleneck areas, the funneling areas, and with the positioning of the garrisons. I never thought it was right. I never thought it was right at all. I don't think, like I said, again, I reiterate, I don't think the beta was finished. I don't think it was done. I can't believe they closed it down. When they closed it down, I thought that shit was going to go right up until the nth. Right up until the 11th hour. And beyond. But no, definitely right up until the 11th hour. So they could get stuff sorted. I'm absolutely flabbergasted that got pulled. And all I can say is people that haven't, who still now have not logged in. And I know there are still so many. I am so sorry. I mean, shouldn't be fucking apologising. There should be posts out there from Blizzard. Not saying we know this is not great, but saying we are fucking sorry. We are sorry. We know there's been a DDoS, but we also know there's been some dumb fuckery by Captain Dumb Fuckery, who's made some really dumb fuckery decisions as regards to certain aspects, which really could have got sorted. But you've got to hang in there, kiddie. You got to hang in there, kiddie, I'm afraid. And who knows, you know, give it a week. Stuff might start to neutralise, to normalise. Raiding isn't open for a couple of weeks, so don't panic about that sort of stuff. There's no world first, so don't worry about all that kind of stuff. And when you do get on, savour it, because there's great content in this game. There is amazing content, and the levelling up in Warlords of Draenor is easily the best levelling up I have ever experienced in WoW. Easily. Without any shadow of a doubt. I thought it was an absolute pleasure on the beta to level up, and there's some great ideas and some great content within this game. So to kind of end on a positive note, because we've got to end on a positive note, because this is our community, folks. This is our community, and this is you know, our game. I know Blizzard like to think it is their game. They make the game, but this is our game as well. Without us, there is no World of Warcraft. End of. Don't matter who fucking programs what. Without us, there is no game. So you just savour it, enjoy it. Just do everything that you can. Have fun, explore. Don't get het up on level 100. No, leave that alone. Leave that alone. Just enjoy what's going on. Horde or Alliance, I am not bothered. But I love you both. I love you both. Have fun and just do what you can. Enjoy what you can. And if you get disconnected, and if your garrison breaks, if you fall through the world and end up looking at a disconnected screen for half an hour of this video, just take it with a pinch of salt for now. Show the community that we are the better men and women. Hold your head up high, and fingers crossed this shit will get sorted. But please, can we have less dumb fuckery and just, you know. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and also twitch.tv for live streaming. The links are in the description down below, and I shall be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.